my life would change forever with a knock on the door. I never would have thought it. Everything seemed normal that morning, or so I thought. But the woman at the door would show me that the marriage I had believed in for years was based on lies. The words she used to reveal that my wife Jane was cheating on me broke my heart. Cheating. What I heard from a stranger that morning told me not only about an affair, but also about a truth that would turn my whole life upside down. When that doorbell rang, I might not have answered it if I had known what was going to happen. I had always wanted to be an engineer. I've been very interested in how things are put together since I was a kid. I would stand in front of buildings for hours and think about how they got so tall. I chose to study design as my goal in high school. I started working at a well-known design company in Northern Virginia after I graduated from the University of Maryland. It was hard at first. I made a small salary and often stayed late at work to make ends meet. I never whined, though, because I was living out my dreams. My life was going exactly the way I had planned. After that, I met Jane. She was always in a hurry at her job in the college cafeteria. She caught my eye at first because she was a waitress, but then I saw that she was more than that. Jane raised her young daughter Joyce by herself since she was a single parent. It was hard for her to raise her daughter by herself and work 2 jobs at the same time. Her drive and strength in life drew me to her. She was more than just pretty. She had a lot of strength and confidence. I felt better about myself in some way because of how strong and determined she was. Our first date almost didn't happen because we were having money problems. Jane didn't even have enough money to eat out. But I was determined to get past this problem and give her and her daughter a stable life. I told her that the hard times she had in the past were over and that we could get through anything together. This promise made Jane feel closer to me. Our friendship grew stronger over time. Jane's small family turned into mine too. In the end, Joyce started calling me Dad, and hearing that word from her made me feel like our family was real. We got closer every day and shared our hopes for the future. When I asked her to marry me a few months later, it was one of the best times of my life. Even though I was deeply happy, I couldn't see the bad days that were coming. When we moved to Northern Virginia, my job started to really take off. I thought my marriage to Jane was great because everything seemed to be going well. But as the years went by, Jane was no longer happy with just taking care of the kids. She became more eager to stand on her own. She got into the real estate business and did well as a realtor. Her career was moving forward quickly. At first, I was proud of what she had done. I was there for her and did everything I could to assist her in succeeding. But as soon as we were successful, the space between us grew. Jane worked longer hours and spent less time at home. There was always a new reason why she was coming home late or going on more work trips. I didn't think this was a problem at first. We all have busy times from time to time, right? But our link broke over time. Jane felt far away from me even when she was physically at home. Our talks got shorter, and the times we spent together almost vanished. While we were in bed, the space between us grew. I saw happiness in her eyes every night when she got home from work after a business trip, but it had nothing to do with me. I started to have doubts, but I didn't want to accept them. Could she really be lying to me? When I had that thought, I didn't want to tell her because I knew I wouldn't be able to handle it if it were true. The answer came to me that morning. When I got home from letting Jane off at the airport, there was a white SUV stopped in front of my house and a woman I didn't know standing there. She said her name was Barbara. My mind wouldn't accept the truth when Barbara told me that her husband was cheating on her with Jane. Jane was my wife, and we had been together for years. How is it possible for someone to harm you like that? What Barbara told me showed me Jane's real face. She said that Jane and her husband Leonard had been meeting in secret in empty homes for months. Barbara had set up cams in a hotel room to catch them and record everything. My mind seemed to shut down as she showed me that my wife had been cheating on me. The pictures of Jane in a hotel room with another guy turned my whole world upside down. That's when I realized Jane had been lying to me for years. The phone then rang. As always, Jane's speech was soft and caring. "Hello, sweetheart." She said that the meeting was going really well. The ease in her voice scared me when I saw her with another man. How is it possible for this to happen? What kind of lie could she tell me? Jane died for me that day, right then. When she betrayed me, the love I had for her went away. We lost the life we had built up over years in a moment. There were only packed bags waiting for Jane when she got home. The kids had even turned their backs on her. Everything that had kept our family together was broken by this lie. One last look at Jane. She looked guilty, but it didn't matter to me at that time. I had lost touch with how I felt about her. There was anger, sadness, and pain, but also love. That was gone. Now that she was by herself, she couldn't go back. When Jane packed her bags and left the house, I felt more and more empty inside. In a moment, everything I had believed in for years was gone. As I watched her walk away, I had only one thought. You deserve this. I felt like I was back in charge of my life at that moment. It's possible that Jane will never come back into my life, but I will rebuild my life after she left. I agree that life goes on. But she would no longer be a part of this new life. When the door shut, there was a strange quiet in the house. When Jane left, there was a gap. But for some reason, that empty space made me feel better. The lies were over now that everything was clear. It made me feel calm in a strange way. I sat down and thought about my whole life for a moment. It made me remember the first time I met Jane, her happy face, and the goals we had made together. These memories seemed far away and strange to me now, like they were from a different life. All of those beautiful memories fell apart when I found out that Jane had betrayed me, and now I was stuck in the middle of the wreckage. From time to time, I changed how I lived with the kids. I tried to hang out with Joyce and Richie more. I could tell they were having a hard time with the deception too. Joyce had a hard time dealing with the fact that her mother was cheating on her. Even though I wanted to be there for her, I was dealing with my own pain. Joyce once asked me, "Dad, why did everything turn out this way?" With tears in her eyes. All the feelings I had been holding back came to the surface at that moment. I told her, "I don't know, sweetheart, people we trust a lot don't always keep their word. It's not our fault though." I tried to wipe her tears away as I stroked her head. Seeing her in such pain made my own hurt even worse. As her dad, I had to be strong for her and give her the safety she needed. Without Jane, our lives became less interesting over time. It was hard to get used to this new reality at first. There was a clear void, but there was also peace. We were no longer living a lie-filled life. After Jane betrayed him, there was a big hole in the world, but over time, a new order started to fill it. I got to know the kids better by spending more time with them. It's possible that this process made our family stronger, even without Jane. Every day, Jane became less and less present in my mind. The times I spent with her in the past now seem like long-ago memories. There were times when the past came back to haunt them. A place we went to, a song we both liked, or even something small that made me think of her. Things I remember don't hurt as much as they used to. They were just reminders of a time I had decided to forget. The papers from Jane for the divorce showed up one day. For a long time, I held the pen and stared at the empty spot where my name should have been. The end of our life together was written on this piece of paper, but it also meant the start of something new. I signed it after taking a deep breath. I learned that life goes on without Jane in the end. It hurt a lot to be betrayed, but it got better over time. It took me a while to get back into life, but I did it. I was excited to start a new part of my life with my kids and make new moments with them.